Hello student. Now today we are going to discuss the new topic named thermodynamic relation. In the last lecture we had discussed about the availability and we have come to the conclusion that what is the availability? Availability is nothing but it is the work potential. If there is a heat, then heat must have some work potential. If there is a system, then with respect to the dead state, every system must have some work potential. Okay, and work potential is what? Work potential is nothing but it is the maximum amount of the work that can be obtained either from the heat or from the system, and system will be either closed system or an open system. Okay, so while we were discussing about the work potential, we had discussed about the work potential of the system for an open system as well as for an closed system. So before going to discuss all the details regarding to the thermodynamic relations, it is important to describe two functions which we have discussed in our earlier availability class. If you recall, then availability for closed system. What was the availability for a closed system? For any closed system, the availability or availability factor was written as U plus P0V minus T0S, where U is the internal energy, V is the volume, and S is the entropy of the system, while P0 and T0 is nothing but it is the pressure as well as the pressure and temperature of the surrounding. So it is your composite property. We have already told you that this is a composite property. Now suppose if we take a system in such a way that the work done against the atmosphere is negligible or neglecting. So it means, suppose if we are taking a piston cylinder arrangement, then the volume remains constant and there is no work will be done while moving the this piston does not move. So while moving there is no motion of the piston, so no work will be done. So this has been removed. So what will be the value of this? This is nothing but it is U minus T0S. Okay. Now this T0 is nothing but it is the property of the environment. Now suppose we take the system in such a way that the system will be bring from its initial position to its final position isothermally. Okay, we change the state of the system from state 1 to state 2 isothermally, means its temperature remains constant, and also the temperature of the system will be equal to the temperature of system is equal to temperature of surrounding. This assumption we are taking that the system and surrounding have equal temperature. So in that particular case, this T naught will be nothing but it is the temperature of the system also. So this phi will become U minus Ts. Okay, so U minus Ts is what? U minus Ts is nothing but it is the maximum available work, or it is the work potential of a system which will be in equilibrium with its thermodynamically equilibrium with the surrounding when the system will move from state 1 to state 2 isothermally and the temperature of the system remains same as the temperature of the surrounding. And this U minus Ts is known as Helmholtz function. Helmholtz function. Okay. So while when we are going to discuss the thermodynamic property relation, so we will use the Helmholtz function. So in therefore we are taking this Helmholtz function, and this will be written as F is equal to U minus Ts. Now this, since T is the temperature of the system as well as the temperature of the surrounding, so U minus Ts is nothing but it is the entire all the properties are of the system property, so it's the property of system. So Helmholtz function is nothing but it is the maximum amount of the work potential of a closed system, and this is also known as the property of a system. In the same way, if you see, then we have discussed for open system also, and for open system, for an open system, the availability factor is nothing but it is H minus T naught S, where T naught is nothing but it is the temperature of the surrounding, while H and S is enthalpy and entropy of the system. So if we keep the, and this is for an open system, so if we keep the temperature of the system remains constant, that is isothermally, and its temperature will be equal to the temperature of surrounding and system will be same, then in that case this phi is nothing but it can be written as H minus Ts. Now this H minus Ts is the maximum available energy or the work potential of any open system, while T is the temperature of the system, and this is known as the Gibbs function. This is known as Gibbs function. Okay, and this Gibbs function will be written as capital G is nothing but it is H minus Ts. So now H minus Ts, all the properties are of the property of system, so Gibbs function is also the property of system. But this is for an open system, and this is for an open system, while Helmholtz function f is equal to u minus Ts. This is also the property of system, but this is for closed system. So always remember, whenever you are using the Gibbs function or Helmholtz function, it doesn't mean that it is something different property, it is just the maximum available energy or the work potential of any system. Okay. Now come to the thermodynamic properties and thermodynamic relations. Thermodynamic relations. In thermodynamic relation, basically what we do, we write the value of one property with respect to another property. Okay, and before that we have to discuss about some mathematical formulas for thermodynamic relation. So what is the mathematical formula? Just to go through all that. Suppose we have a function z, and this z is nothing but it is a function of two variables x and y. Okay, so the total differentiation of z may be written as del z over del x. This is your partial derivative of z with respect to x keeping y as a constant dx, plus del z over del y, means partial derivative of z with respect to y keeping x as a constant dy. So this is the way by which we can write the exact differentiation of any function with respect to two variables, means the exact derivative of z with respect to two variables x and y. Okay, now suppose we write this dz in this way, that it is m dx plus n dy, where m is nothing but it is known as del z over del x keeping y as a constant, and n is equal to del z over del y keeping x as a constant. Now suppose if we differentiate this m with respect to y, then what will happen? Del by del y, del z over del x, earlier it was keeping as a constant, now this becomes del 2z over del x del y del x. Similarly, if we do del n over del x, then what will happen? Del by del x of del z over del y keeping x as a constant, or this becomes del 2z by del x del y. And we know that in double derivative, partial derivative, del z over del 2z by del x del y or del 2z over del x del y del x, the order doesn't make any sense. So del m over del y, if we see from these two, then del m over del y is nothing but it is equal to del z over del n over del x. So this is the condition for an exact derivative. If this satisfies, then we say that z is an exact derivative function, and this then this dz can be written as, then dz will be an exact derivative. So this is very important for a equation of m times dx. For any equation m dx plus n dy is equal to 0 or is equal to some function, and suppose you have to find out whether this is an exact differential equation or not. So in that case, this will be an exact differential if del m over del y is equal to del n over del x. This is the condition. If this condition satisfies, then we say that the given equation is an exact derivative differential equation. Okay, so this equation will be used so many times in different thermodynamic relations. Now there is one more theorem. The theorem is, which is also known as the cyclic theorem. What is this cyclic theorem? So this cyclic theorem says that suppose there are three variables, suppose there is three variables z, and this z can be written as a function of x, y and z itself also. Okay, and in this z is a function of xy, y is a function of zx and x as a function of yz, means all the variable are the function of other variables. Then in that case, del x over del y, keeping z as a constant, multiplied by del y over del z, keeping x as a constant, multiplied by del z over del x, keeping y as a constant, and this value becomes minus 1. So this is known as your cyclic theorem. Why? Because the order is in a cyclic order, that is del x over del y, then del y over del z, then del z over del x, and when we are differentiating one variable with respect to another variable, then the third variable will be kept constant. Like del x, when x is differentiating with respect to partially with respect to y, then keeping z as a constant. While we are partially differentiating y with respect to z, then x will have to be constant, and when we are differentiating z with respect to x, then we kept the y as a constant. So this is in a cyclic order. So this theorem is known as cyclic theorem, and this theorem is also being used so many times in while we will discuss the thermodynamic relation, and the proof of this theorem is beyond our course, and there is no need to there is no need for us to go into detail regarding to the proof of this theorem. So we have to just remember that this is a theorem. Okay, so in thermodynamic, suppose we have three variables: pressure, volume and temperature, and if we apply the same for the as per the cyclic theorem, then what will be happen? Del P over del V, keeping temperature constant, into del V over del T, keeping pressure constant, into del T over del P, keeping volume constant, that value will becomes minus 1. So this is in thermodynamic temperature scale. We can use this theorem. Okay, so these are basically this is one of the theorem which will be used so many times in our thermodynamic relation. And one more theorem will be used, and that theorem is what? Now theorem number 2. Suppose we have given a function f, and this function is nothing but it is a function of x, y and z. Okay, or suppose we have some variable x, that is the function of x, y, z, y is a function of x, y, z, and z is also the function of x, y and z. So in that particular case, del x over del y means derivative of x with respect to y, keeping function as a constant, into del y over del z, keeping f as a constant, or del z over del x, keeping f as a constant, and this value will become v1. So this is also an important theorem, and this theorem has also been used, and the derivative of this theorem is also beyond our course. So there is no need to go for the derivative and all that regarding to this theorem. We have to just remember this theorem and we have to utilize. So we have be a clear cut idea regarding to this theorem, where we have to apply this theorem. Okay. Now come to the Maxwell equations and Maxwell's relations. Maxwell equation. So this thermodynamic relation is nothing but it is totally your mathematics, and mathematical calculation has to be done, and one property has been written into the form of another property. So what are the Maxwell equations? We just first write down the Maxwell equations. Now suppose we know that from the first law of thermodynamics that del Q is nothing but it is du plus del W, and if we have only the first law is applicable, and this is the first law of thermodynamics, and suppose the equation will be reversible, then this del Q will be written as TdS is nothing but it is du plus, and if this work is nothing but it is the boundary work and is for a closed system, so this can be written as PdV. So in this case, this is the property relation that du becomes TdS minus PdV. This is our first thermo equation, first property equation. So first we will write all the properties equations, and then we will apply the exact differential condition. Now we also know that there is one property enthalpy, and that enthalpy has been defined as U plus PV. If we differentiate this enthalpy, then this is nothing but it is du plus PdV plus VdP. But from the first law of thermodynamics, du plus PdV is nothing but it is TdS. So this dH may be written as TdS plus VdP. This is also the property relation. Okay. Now we have already discussed two properties, that is the Helmholtz function and Gibbs function. So what are those? F is equal to U minus Ts. If we differentiate, then dF will be du minus Tds minus sdt. But if we see that du minus Tds is nothing but it is minus of Pdv, so this dF may be written as minus Pdv minus sdt. So this is nothing but your third property relation with respect to Helmholtz function. And similarly for Gibbs function, G is nothing but it is H minus Ts. If we differentiate, then dG is equal to dH minus Tds minus sdt. Now dH minus Tds is nothing but it Vdp, so this dG will be equal to Vdp minus sdt. Okay, so these are the four properties relations. They are not the Maxwell equation, they are just as the property relation. And now since all the properties, and we know that the properties and state function, it is a pure differential equation. So once these all property relations are the pure exact differential equation, so we can utilize the exact differential equation form, that is mdx plus ndy form. So apply the mdx plus ndy form, and then we will write the Maxwell equation. So first I am writing all these equations, and then we will apply the Maxwell relations. So what are the Maxwell equations? These property relation, du is equal to, what was those? Du is equal to Tds minus Pdv, Tds minus Pdv, this is your first. Then dH is equal to, dH is equal to Tds plus Vdp, that is Tds plus Vdp. Now our third equation is Helmholtz function is minus Pdv minus sdt. dF is equal to minus sdt minus Pdv and dg is equal to, what is that, minus s dt plus vdp, minus s dt plus vdp. So these are the four property equations, and now with the help of this we will write the Maxwell's relation. So what is that dz is equal to, if written as m dx plus n dy, so it will be an exact differential equation if del m over del y is equal to del n over del x, here keeping y as a constant and here keeping x as a constant. So now using this equation, so we are going to write the Maxwell's relation. So first Maxwell relation, what is the first Maxwell relation? If we use this one, du is equal to minus t ds minus t dv, then this is nothing but it is del t, that is n with respect to y. So t with respect to v, so del t over del v keeping s constant is equal to minus del p over del s keeping v constant. Now second equation is del t over del p keeping s constant is nothing but it is del v over del s keeping p constant. Now third equation is del s over del v keeping temperature constant is equal to del p over del t keeping volume constant, and the final Maxwell relation is del s over del p, del s over del p keeping temperature constant is equal to minus del v over del t keeping pressure constant. So these four equations are nothing but they are known as Maxwell equations or Maxwell's relations. So these are the Maxwell's relation, and we have to remember all these four equations. We have to memorize, we have to always remember these four Maxwell equations. Basically students generally forgot about all this. Okay, so you have to remember these four equations and you are able to write down this equation whenever there is a required. Okay, now write down the TDS equations, first and second TDS equation for Maxwell's relation with the help of Maxwell's equation. Now I am going to write down the property relation with respect to another properties. Okay, what we have told in Maxwell's relation or in thermodynamic relation, we basically write the thermodynamic property or thermodynamic equations, property equation, one property equation into another form of the property equation. So we must have to be remember about all these things. Okay, so now we are going to write down the TDS equation. TDS equation, of course it is TDS equation. So there are two TDS equations. So now first we are writing the TDS equation, how to write out the TDS equations. Okay, so now suppose we are taking the entropy. Now let us assume that entropy is nothing but it is the function of, entropy is nothing but it is the function of temperature as well as the volume. So in that case this entropy will be written as del S over del T keeping volume constant dt plus del S over del V keeping temperature constant dV. Okay, this is the entropy. ds is equal to del S over del T keeping volume constant dt plus del S over del V keeping temperature constant into dV. Now if we multiply it by temperature, then what will happen? TdS, this is nothing but it is T del S over del T keeping volume constant dt plus T times del S over del V, keeping temperature constant, into dV. So this is the TdS equation. Now if you recall the basically the slope of temperature versus entropy, if this is the temperature versus entropy TS diagram, then what is the dT over ds for constant isochoric process? For an isochoric process, it is T by Cv at a constant volume, the slope of, okay. So del S over del T keeping volume constant, del S over del T keeping volume constant is nothing but it is Cv upon T. Okay, now put the value of this thing, so this will be given as TdS is nothing but T times del S over del T at a constant volume is nothing but it is Cv, so it is Cv dt plus T times del S over del V keeping temperature constant into dV. Now in the Maxwell equation, if we recall del S over del V at a constant temperature, del S over del V at a constant temperature, so that can be written as del P over del T at a constant volume. Okay, so now we are just changing the one property with respect to another property, that is del P over del T at a constant volume. Okay, so this TdS is nothing but it is Cv dt plus T times del P over del T at a constant volume, del P over del T at a constant volume. So this is basically known as first TdS equation. This is our first TdS equation. Now let us assume that entropy is nothing but it is the temperature or is the function of temperature and pressure. Now here we are writing the TdS equation, second TdS equation. Okay, so now since the entropy is the function of temperature and pressure, then this ds can be written as del S over del T at a constant pressure dt plus del S over del P at a constant temperature dP. Okay, so this is the equation. Now we multiply both the side with T, then TdS will be equal to T times del S over del T at a constant pressure dt plus T times del S over del P at a constant temperature Tp. Okay, if we remember that if we remember the graph of temperature versus entropy and the isobaric pressures, and for isobaric pressure slope line dt over ds at a constant pressure is nothing but it is T by Cp. So T times del S over del T at a constant pressure will nothing but T times del S over del T at a constant pressure is nothing but it is Cp dt plus T times del S over del P at a constant temperature dP. Okay, now from the Maxwell relation equation, if you see, so what was our relation? It is del S over del P at a constant temperature. So del S over del P at a constant temperature, del S over del P at a constant temperature, so this can be written as minus of del V over del T at constant pressure, minus of del V over del T minus of del V over del T at a constant pressure dP Cp dt. This is the TdS. So this is known as the second TdS equation. This is second TdS equation. Sometimes these are known as the TdS equation, sometimes these are known as the energy equation. Okay, so earlier we had discussed the first TdS equation. This equation is known as first TdS equation, and this equation is known as the second TdS equation, and they are nothing but they have just what we have done basically we have changed the one property with respect to another property. Now with the help of this tedious equation we will derive some important relations, some important formulas. So what are those formulas and what are those relations? Now let us see. Now combining the first and second tedious equation, combining first and second tedious equation. Now I am going to combine. So the first tedious equation, TDS, is nothing but it is CV dt. What was the first tedious equation? CV dt plus T times del P over del T at constant volume plus T times del P over del T at a constant volume, and this is also equal to Cp dt minus T times del V over del T at a constant pressure, del V over del T at a constant pressure dP. This is dV. Okay, so these are the first and second combined equation. Now both values are equal to the TDS, so we can correlate, we can equate these two equations separately. So what is the Cp minus Cv dt? Cp minus Cv dt, this will become Cp minus Cv is nothing but this will go that side, so T times del P over del T at a constant volume dV plus T times del V over del T at a constant pressure dP. This we can write, or we can write dt is equal to T upon Cp minus Cv del P over del T at a constant volume dt plus dV, dV plus T times, this is nothing but it is purely mathematics, there is no thermodynamics, nothing else, it is pure mathematics, and you have to remember and you have to memorize all these things, and so many times you have to make a lot of practice regarding to writing all these equations, because we always forgot about all these things. Okay, now so we can write this dt is equal to in the form of dV and dP. So what it shows? It shows that temperature is nothing but it is a pressure, it is a function of pressure as well as of the volume. Okay, so if the temperature is a function, so now let temperature is nothing but it is a function of pressure and volume, then what we write, dt is equal to del T over del P at a constant volume dV dP plus del T over del V at a constant pressure into dV. So if we compare these two equations, then what will happen? If we compare with respect to V, then T upon Cp minus Cv, T upon Cp minus Cv, T upon Cp minus Cv del P over del T at a constant volume into del P over del T at a constant volume, this is nothing but is equal to del T over del V at a constant pressure. At a constant pressure. Or if you write with respect to the second formula, so you will also get the same thing. So what is the value of Cp minus Cv? If you compare, then Cp minus Cv, this Cp minus Cv is nothing but it is T times del P over del T at a constant volume multiplied by del V over del T at a constant pressure. Cp minus Cv is T times del P upon del T at a constant volume into del V over del T at a constant pressure. So this is the value of Cp minus Cv. Okay. Now what we can write with the help of the Maxwell's relation. Now see what is the Maxwell relations. In Maxwell relation, del P upon del T at a constant volume. Now see here, del P upon del T at a constant volume. So del P upon del T at a constant volume, del P upon del T upon del V at a constant pressure, and all these values have been given to us. So what we have to write? Now see, oh I'm sorry, now Cp minus Cv, now this Cp minus Cv is T times del P upon del T at a constant volume into del V upon del T at a constant pressure. Now let us assume that temperature is nothing but it is the function of, since we have already assumed that it is a function of pressure and volume, then with the help of theorem, del T or del P upon del V at a constant temperature into del V upon del T at a constant pressure into del T upon del P at a constant volume, this value will becomes minus 1. So del P upon del T at a constant volume, so value of del P upon del T at a constant volume, if we have to calculate del P upon del T at a constant volume, so this value will becomes minus del P upon del V at a constant temperature into del V upon del T at a constant pressure. So we can put the value of del P upon del T at a constant volume into the given equation, this one. So Cp minus Cv will become minus time of T into del P upon del T at a constant volume, that value can be written as minus del P upon del V at a constant temperature into del V upon del T at a constant pressure into del V upon del T at a constant pressure. So this becomes del V upon del T at a constant pressure whole square. Okay, so Cp minus Cv comes out to be, Cp minus Cv is equal to minus T times del V upon del T at a constant pressure square into del P upon del V at a constant temperature. Okay, so this value will always be a positive value, del V upon del T whole square, because it's a square of any real number. Temperature will always positive. And what is del P upon del V at a constant temperature? Is nothing but it is the slope of an isothermal line. This is slope of an isothermal line. Slope of isothermal line. It is the slope of an isothermal line on PV diagram. Okay, so the slope of an isothermal line on a PV diagram, and this value is always negative, we know that. So this value is always negative, so this negative multiplied by this negative, this entire thing will be positive. It means Cp minus Cv is always being a positive quantity, which proved that Cp is greater than Cv. So it is an important relation that Cp is greater than Cv. So that can be proved with the help of the Maxwell's relation, that Cp minus Cv comes out to be minus T of del V over del T whole square P into dP over dP at a constant temperature. And since the slope of an isothermal line is always negative, so Cp minus Cv value will be positive, so their Cp is always greater than to Cv. This is very important relation, and so many times it has been asked to prove that Cp is greater than to Cv. So with the help of this you can find out that Cp is greater than to Cv. Okay. Now that we have already done all these Maxwell's relation and first and second TdS equation. Now come to the volume expansivity. Okay, what is the volume expansibility or coefficient of volume expansion? So coefficient of volume expansion is being represented by the word beta, and this beta is nothing but it is the per unit volume change with respect to temperature, keeping pressure as a constant with respect to the total volume. Okay. So volume expansivity beta is nothing but it is the rate of change of volume with respect to temperature at a constant pressure with respect to total volume, or beta can be written as 1 upon V del V over del T at a constant pressure. That you have to remember. Okay, so this is the volume expansivity. Similarly, there is another term which is known as isothermal compressibility and adiabatic compressibility. What is compressibility? Compressibility is nothing but it is the inverse of bulk modulus. Okay, inverse of a bulk modulus. And what is basically the compressibility? So compressibility is nothing but it is the rate of change of volume with respect to pressure at a for an isothermal compressibility. Rate of change of volume with respect to pressure isothermally with respect to total volume, or rate of change of volume with respect to pressure adiabatically with respect to volume. And why we are using the negative sign? Because the value of the compressibilities will never be negative, and del V over del P or del P over del V value either for isothermal process or for an adiabatic process, the slope of the pressure versus volume line will always be a negative value. So this value will always be negative for both the expressions. So this negative and negative will give you the positive value. So Kt and Ks will have to be a positive thing. Okay. So what is isothermal compressibility? Isothermal compressibility is Kt is nothing but it is minus 1 upon V into rate of change of volume with respect to pressure keeping temperature constant, and adiabatic compressibility is nothing but it is rate of change of volume with respect to pressure isentropically with respect to total volume. So these are the two values, two terms which you have to remember. Okay, what is isothermal compressibility factor and what is the adiabatically compressibility factor? Isothermal compressibility factor and adiabatic compressibility factor. Now we are going to use this beta and Kt for Cp minus Cv. So we have already seen that Cp minus Cv is nothing but it is minus T del V over del T at a constant pressure is square into del P over del V at a temperature line. Okay, so this value will becomes T times minus T. What is del V over del T at a constant pressure? Del V over del T at a constant pressure is nothing but it is beta times of V. So it is beta times of V ka square multiplied by del P upon del V at a constant temperature. Del P upon del V at a constant temperature. If you see del P upon del V at a constant temperature, from here what is del P upon del V at a constant temperature? So this value will becomes minus Kt upon V, sorry, minus 1 upon V times Kt. Okay, so we can write as minus 1 upon Kt into V. So Cp minus Cv comes out to be, this minus minus will be plus T beta square upon Kt into V. So it is Tv beta square divided by Kt. So many times this question, this have been asked in the engineering services examination ki prove that Cp minus Cv is equal to Tv beta square upon Kt. Now again Kt is always positive, beta is always positive, this is positive, so Cp minus Cv is a positive quantity, so the value of Cp will always be greater than to Cv. Okay, so by this we can find out that there is a Cp minus Cv. Another important relation is that you can be asked to derive the expression for Ks and Kt. So this we can use with the help of the first and second TDS equation. Now again I am going to write down the ratio of Ks to Kt. What is the ratio of Ks to Kt? Means whether the value of Ks will be greater or Kt will be greater. So ratio of Ks and Kt. That is the compressibility factor, adiabatic as well as an isothermal. So that we are going to calculate. So this can be done with the help of the TDS equation, and we have already done the TDS equation. The first TDS equation is Cv dt plus T times, what was that, plus T times, what is the first TDS equation? Cv dt plus T times del P over del T at a constant volume, del P over del T constant volume dV. And similarly the second TDS equation is Cp dt minus T times now del V over del T at a constant pressure dP. Okay, so these are the first and second TDS equation. Now we are going to find out the ratio of Cp divided by Cv. So how to calculate Cp upon Cv? And then you will find out the Ks and Kt. So what is Ks and Kt? Ks and Kt are nothing but it is the ratio of del V upon del P with respect to pressure and temperature. So if you have to find out this ratio for Ks and Kt, so what we have to do, and obviously for an isothermal process and for an isochoric process, isentropic process, that is your entropy remains constant. So when the entropy remains constant, then this Cp dt minus T times del V over del P del T, this must have to be 0, because for isothermal process and isochoric process. So see, this TDS will have to be 0 for Ks and Kt. So see, what is Cp dt? So this Cp dt is nothing but it is T times del V over del T at a constant pressure into dP. And what is Cv dt? Cv dt is nothing but it is minus T times del P over del T at a constant volume into dV. These are the value of. So this Cp can be written as, this Cp may be written as T times del V over del T at a constant pressure into del P over del T at a constant entropy. Similarly, what the Cv can be written? Cv can be written as minus T times del P upon del T at a constant volume into del V over del T at a constant entropy. Okay, now we are dividing both the equation, then Cp upon Cv. This Cp upon Cv can be written as minus, now T can be cancelled out, del V upon del T at a constant pressure multiplied by del P upon del T at a constant entropy, all divided by del P upon del T at a constant volume into del V upon del T at a constant entropy. I have already told you that this is nothing but it is purely mathematics. You have to just apply the mathematical formulas. Okay, now I am writing the del P upon del T at a constant entropy and del V upon del T at a constant entropy in the terms of del V del T del P del T. Okay, so del P upon del T with the help of Maxwell's relations. So what are the Maxwell's relations? This is an important task. That's why I told you that you have to remember all the Maxwell's equations. So del P upon del T, sorry, del P upon del S at a constant temperature, Maxwell's equations, we have to remember these Maxwell's equations. So del S upon del P at a constant temperature is minus del V upon del T at a constant pressure. So del P upon del S at a constant temperature may be written as del T upon del V at a constant pressure with a minus sign, minus del V upon del T upon del V at a constant pressure. Minus del V upon del T at a constant pressure upon del P upon del T at a constant volume multiplied by del P upon del T at a constant entropy and del P upon del T at a constant entropy. So we are going to write the Maxwell's equation. So with the help of Maxwell equation, I have written in the copy, hold on, del P upon del T at a constant entropy, del P upon del T, del P upon del T at a constant entropy, del P upon del T at a constant entropy is del S upon del V at a constant pressure, del S upon del V at a constant pressure upon del V upon del T at a constant entropy, del V upon del T, del V upon del T at a constant entropy, del V upon del T at a constant entropy is minus del S upon del P at a constant volume, minus del S upon del P at a constant volume. Okay, so what is the value of Cp upon Cv? So this value of Cp upon Cv, this minus minus will goes out. So del V upon del T at a constant pressure into del S upon del V at a constant pressure, all divided by del P upon del T at a constant volume into del S upon del V del P at a constant volume. Or we can write as Cp upon Cv, just write down Cp upon Cv is del V upon del T del S upon del V, del V upon del T into del S upon del V, del V upon del T at a constant pressure into del S upon del V at a constant pressure, I think del S upon del V, del P upon del T, del S upon del P, del P upon del T at a constant volume into del S upon del V del P at a constant volume. We know that del V upon del T at a constant pressure into del T upon del S at a constant pressure into del S upon del V at a constant pressure has to be 1 using this theorem. So if del V upon del T into del S upon del V, so this becomes del S upon del T at a constant pressure. Upon del S upon del P sorry, del S upon del T at a constant volume. That means it is the slope of the isothermal process ratios, that is T by Cp and T by Cv, that we have already proved, we know. Now we are using Kp versus Ks relations. So what is Kp and what is Ks? So del V upon del P at a constant temperature and del V upon del P at a constant entropy. These values we have to convert also. So del V upon del T at a constant pressure and del V upon del T, del V upon del P, del V upon del P at a constant entropy. Okay then, thank you.